Hey guys, so today I'll be sharing with you a quick book haul. I realized I haven't done a book haul in a while, and I have picked up quite a few books the last few months and everything that I still haven't read. I did read some of the books that I recently picked up for March Mystery Madness. So whatever books that I've recently picked up that I've already read, I'm not going to include in this book haul because I've already talked to them and mentioned them on my channel, so it's kind of weird just kind of throwing them in a book haul as well because you guys know that I've read them. But these are all of the books that I've recently picked up in the last couple months or so that I still haven't read. I have quite a few books on here now that I'm kind of pulling from my shelf to see what I recently picked up, and I do have quite a few books that I've picked up in the last couple of months that I haven't read. I like doing book hauls just because, you know, I share with you guys the books that I've picked up, and a lot of you guys comment on certain ones that you've read and are excited about, and usually I like reading those comments because they kind of motivate me to pick some books up sooner than others because, you know, people are excited about them or they really enjoyed them. So I decided to sit down and do this really quickly. I haven't really been posting a lot on this channel just because, you know, for those of you who don't know, my wife and I just recently, you know, are in the process of adoption. Our son just recently moved in with us about a week and a half or so, and things have just kind of been crazy, you know, getting ready for him to move in and stuff. And, you know, I have been doing some reading. I have been listening to audiobooks and everything, so I've been keeping up with my reading. It's just been difficult for me to kind of sit down and actually film. So yeah, I figured a book haul would be kind of nice to kind of dip my toes into again, since I haven't really posted anything on this channel in the last couple months. So let's just go ahead and get started and stop with the rambling. So one of my most recent pickups was Empire of the Vampire by Jay Kristoff. This is his first book in a new series that he's writing. I've read like the Illuminae and some other stuff that Jay Kristoff has written. I really want to try and read his Nevernight series before I jump into this one. This is a massive book. I don't even know if they're connected or not, or if they take place in the same world. I have no idea. But I do really want to read his Nevernight series before I jump into Empire of the Vampire, just because I've had that one on my shelf longer. I don't know, or I don't think I'm going to get through the entire trilogy this year, but I feel like if I at least start the first book, I'll be happy, you know, and this one probably sometime next year when I'm done with that series, I'll pick this one up because, again, this one's massive. This is going to take a while for me to get through, so I have no plans on reading this one anytime soon, but yeah, this was definitely one that I was excited about. It was on this, you know, Barnes & Noble sale for a little while. I actually picked it up from Amazon and it was like half off, so really excited, had to get it as soon as I saw that it was on sale. I also picked up Harriet the Spy by Louise Fitzhugh. This is one that's very nostalgic for me. I remember this book in elementary school when it came out, and, you know, everybody in the classroom wanted to read it and everything, and I remember thinking that this was a huge book at the time. So yeah, it's one of those books that I picked up, started reading, kind of never finished. I did remember watching the Nickelodeon adaptation of this movie years and years ago with Michelle Trachtenberg. Really enjoyed that one. But yeah, I needed a copy of this book just because, you know, nostalgia. I wanted to actually sit down and read it all, you know, completely for the first time in my life, even though I kind of know what it's about. You know, Harriet kind of going around the neighborhood, pretending to be a spy and solving these kind of little mysteries in the neighborhood. Really well-beloved children's book. I had to pick up a copy to have on my shelf. I also picked up God, Emperor of Dune by Frank Herbert. This is the fourth book in the Dune series. I want to continue on with the series at some point, you know, very soon within the next month or so. It's very high up on my TBR list because I did read the first one late last year and loved it. It was one of my favorite books of last year, and I do have the next four books, or the next three books, so I have up to book 4 in the series, so I'm really excited to, you know, have this copy now, continue on with the series. I have heard mixed things about it, so we'll see what happens when I actually do end up reading this one, if I do end up enjoying it or not. But, you know, again, I really loved the first one, so I have hopes that I'm going to continue to enjoy this series at least. I did also pick up The War of the Worlds by D.E. Knight. This is the last book in the Crowns of Crosswald series. I'm currently reading book 3. Really enjoying it so far. I've just, you know, I haven't really had time to read as much this week just because things have been a little bit crazier and everything. But yeah, I'm well into book 3 and really enjoying it, and hopefully I can pick up book 4 by the end of May. I doubt that I'm going to be able to get to the end of this series before the end of the month. I do have 3 new releases that I have pre-ordered that are coming out in May. For some reason, there are a lot of books coming out in May that I really, really want, so I'm trying to focus on those new releases because I don't really want to let them sitting around, and I'm really excited to read those. So in May, I'm probably going to take a break from this series if I can't finish it, just to get through those new releases and then come back to this one and finish it. But this is definitely high up on my TBR. Really want to finish this one very, very soon because Crowns of Crosswald is one of my favorite kind of middle grade fantasy series. So really excited to have this one. This actually came in early. The author sent it out early, and I received it about a week or so, week and a half, 2 weeks before release. So really excited to have this one. Really excited to find out how this series concludes as well. I also picked up Crave by Tracy Wolff. This is kind of one of those like Twilight-y type books. I don't know, for some reason this is one that I always would pop up on like my Amazon recommendations, and I would see it like at Barnes & Noble and everything. I was always curious to see what this book was about. I had some friends that recently read it that really enjoyed it. You know, they say that this is very self-aware, that it's kind of like Twilight, but then does some really cool changes to it. So the author is you know, knows that she's sort of copying the formula of Twilight, but then doing her own thing. So I'm really excited to see what this one's about. I feel like this is going to be a very, you know, light, kind of sugary type, addictive type of read. You know, I don't feel like there's going to be much substance in this book, but I feel like it is going to be very addicting and I'm going to enjoy it. So this is one that I'm going to pick up eventually when I just want something light and easy to get through, you know, maybe when I'm in a slump or something. This is part of a series that seems like it's a pretty long series. I feel like there's like 5 or 6 books out in this series so far. So we'll see what happens when I read book 1. This is a chunker, so we'll see. I have no plans on reading this one anytime soon, but who knows? Maybe I do end up falling into a slump in the next month or so and decide to pick this one up to kind of get myself out of it. So we'll see what happens with this one. This is, you know, vampires, werewolves, different kind of creatures and things. So I like that kind of stuff. Also picked up Morgan Rhodes' new book, Echoes and Empires. This is her new duology, the first book in a new duology. I'm doing terrible at synopsises just because it's, you know, I don't like really looking into really what books are about. I like going as blindly as possible, but you know, again, this is first book in a new duology. It's a fantasy duology. I'm just going to go into this one fairly blindly. I absolutely loved Morgan Rhodes' Falling Kingdom series, so really excited to get into her new duology. This is one that I had pre-ordered and got when it came out, but in, you know, the booktuber fashion, we pick up new books and just let them sit on our shelves for a while, so we'll see when I get to this one, but still excited to have it. I also picked up Red Sister by Mark Lawrence. This is a series that has kind of made its rounds here online, on YouTube and everything, and I've heard fairly good things about it, especially book 1. I haven't heard the greatest things of how the series ends. You know, I've heard mixed things about how the series ends, but I'm really excited still to kind of pick up more like dark fantasy. So yeah, we'll see what happens with this one. I know that you know, it follows these women in like the society of like nuns that murder people or something. So it sounds really interesting. I've never read anything by Mark Lawrence before, so I'm excited to eventually kind of end up picking up this series and seeing what it's all about. This is probably one that I'll save for like, you know, winter time next year or something. So still excited to have this first one. I'm not going to try and pick up the next books in this series until I've at least read this first one and know that it's something that I want to continue with. I also picked up Mistborn by Brandon Sanderson, another series that has made its rounds on BookTube. People really love this series. It's another author that I have not read anything of. I've never read anything by Brandon Sanderson. I've heard he's absolutely amazing. Everybody seems to love him. So I had to pick up Mistborn to see kind of what all the hype was about. I do have his other like YA series, like the science fiction one, the Reckoners trilogy, I believe it's called, which I still need to read because I do own all the 3 books in that trilogy. So I might end up reading that trilogy before I get into Mistborn because I only own the first book in this one. And this is another one that I kind of want to read the first book, see if I really enjoy it before I continue on. But I have a feeling that I might end up really enjoying this series because everybody that I know and I trust their opinions and everything seems to really love it. So excited to have this one, and I actually really like this kind of mass market paperback cover, these new like redesigns of them. I hated the old American version, so I'm really glad that they redesigned the mass market paperbacks here in America because I really enjoyed these one a lot more than the originals. The next one is one that I got from Paperback Swap, and this is Feed by Myra Grant. I believe this is the pen name for Shannon McGuire, who, you know, writes a lot. You know, a lot of people know Shannon McGuire for her Wayward children's series that a lot of people love. This is a zombie kind of apocalypse type book. I believe it's an adult first book in a trilogy. I like zombie stuff, so this is one that when I saw was available on there, had to pick up. So we'll kind of see what happens with this one. Another one that I don't have plans to start very soon, but excited to have it and to see kind of where this one goes, because again, I enjoy zombie stuff, even though I kind of, you know, have been, you know, not as much into the zombie things. I kind of stopped watching The Walking Dead a couple seasons ago and everything because it was just getting a little bit repetitive for me. But I will see what happens with this one because I seem to enjoy books more because they get more into detail. I enjoy the characters and the action and stuff in these, so we'll see what happens with this one. I also picked up You've Lost a Lot of Blood by Eric LaRocca. Eric LaRocca he independently publishes. This is his second release. His first release, Things Have Gotten Worse Since We Last Spoke, was one of my favorite books of last year. I absolutely love that one. He writes shorter, like novellas type books, so these are very quick reads. That one I read in like an hour or two before bed one day, and really loved it. So I was really excited when his second book came out. I picked this one up recently. I'm hoping to get this one read very soon because again, I loved his first book, so I'm really excited about the second one, and his third one is coming out very soon. So yeah, I'm really excited to see what this one's all about because I feel like it's, by this cover alone, it's just gruesome and dark. And it's going to be, I feel like it's going to be a wild ride. So I'm really excited to have this one. And another kind of book that I picked up on paperback swap as well was Skyhunter by Marie Lu. I've enjoyed Marie Lu's writing in the past. I read the Legend series by Marie Lu a few years back and really loved it. And haven't really read anything else by Marie Lu since then. This is, I think, one of her most recent duologies that have come out, so I'm really excited to have this one as well, just because it's brand new and it was on paperback swap, so I had a credit, decided to get it, and really excited to see what this one's all about. It's another kind of YA sci-fi. I think she leans more towards sci-fi, so excited to have this one and see what this one's all about. I also have All These Bodies by Kendara Blake. This is a YA kind of mystery ghost story type book. This is one that I wanted to try and get to last month in March but didn't. So this is probably going to be like one of like an October read. I feel like it's going to be really good to read in October as well for like the spooky season. This one's more of a kind of historical type mystery. Really intrigued to see what this one's about. It is fairly short, so it is one that I feel like is going to be perfect to kind of get through now in my time in life where I don't have as much time to read. Just shorter books are going to be nice to get through. So this is one that I, really excited for. I haven't read Three Dark Crowns by Kendara Blake yet. I do own the entire series, so that's another series that I hope to at least start at some point this year, because it's been on my shelf for a while and I've heard really good things. I'm still really intrigued to read that one. So yeah, that I have this one as well. And then I also picked up This Darkest Mind by Mindy McGinnis. Mindy McGinnis is an author that I've read a few of her books before and really love them, and then just kind of forgot and haven't really picked up anything by her recently. And this book was on sale on Amazon. I picked it up. It's like $5 or $6. So definitely needed to pick this one up. I think this one deals more with like mental health and the main character kind of in her own head and the things that are kind of going on within herself and everything. So I've heard another, mixed things about this one as well, but excited because it's Mindy McGinnis and we've been wanting to check more things out by her. So had to pick this one up as soon as I saw that it was as cheap as it was, just because I want to kind of see more of her stuff. I know she writes a lot of different things, contemporary and fantasy, thrillers as well. So yeah, this one's one that I'm excited to have as well. And then the last stack of books that I have were actually from the library. I went to the library last week and, I know that the library sells books. I knew about this for some reason. When I would go in there, I would walk by this little store that they had close to the entrance, but I never actually went in to browse and see what they had. I always just assumed they were just kind of older books that nobody wanted. So I would never really go in there and browse. And this week I decided to kind of just go in there and check out what they have. And they had really great books for amazing prices. So I picked up 6 books from my library, which is now, I feel like it's going to be very dangerous because I feel like every couple months I'm going to want to go to the library to see what they have. And I'm going to end up buying, stacks of books from the library. But they're cheap. I only spent $11 on all of these, which I'm really excited for, and I'm really excited for the stuff that I found. One of the books that I found there was Wild Card by Marie Lu. This is like a brand new hardcover. This is the second book in her Warcross duology. I did pick up Warcross a couple months ago, so now I have the second book. I can kind of binge through this duology eventually when I do end up picking it up, because it is one that I've been intrigued to read for a while now, so I'm glad I now have the 2 kind of matching editions, and excited that I got this there. I think this was like $1. It was insane. I also picked up The Couple Next Door by Sherry LaPena. This is an adult mystery thriller that I've had my eye on for a while as well. I feel like this is more of the generic thriller, couple next door, they're holding this secret and people don't really know, and then eventually you kind of, find out what this whole secret is. These are very, very quick reads. I feel, I have some trips and stuff planned throughout the summer and the end of the year and everything, so I feel like this is going to be a nice one to kind of just like take with me on a trip because it's small, it's quick, and I feel like I'm really going to enjoy this one as well. I also picked up, which I was really excited, I think this was only like $2, was The Wise Man's Fear by Patrick Rothfuss. I started reading The Name of the Wind a couple years ago and kind of put it down because it felt a little bit slow. I was told by a lot of people that I needed to push through because it got so much better after that. So it's a book that I feel I'm definitely going to go back through. I've been kind of debating on whether I wanted to continue it or not, whether I wanted to kind of, unhaul it, but I did in the end up keeping it. So I was able to find the second book in this. I believe it's a trilogy, and the third book is, has taken years and years to come out. I think that's another reason why I never really went back and continued it, because the series isn't even finished now. But it's the larger kind of trade paperback that I found, so it matches the edition that I have for the first book. And again, $2. I mean, I had to pick this one up as soon as I saw it, so definitely I feel like I'm going to go back and start The Name of the Wind at some point. I don't know if it's, most likely next year. I don't think I'm going to pick it up this year, again, because the last book still isn't even out yet, so who knows. But yeah, excited that I found that one as well. Another book that I've heard a lot about, Black Leopard, Red Wolf by Marlon James. This is one that I feel like it's fairly new as well. This is a fairly new, recent release. This is, again, in amazing, amazing condition. It's almost brand new, that I've heard really good things about. I think this is more fantasy and don't really know much about, but I'm going to kind of keep it that way again because I like going, like I've mentioned before, into books fairly blindly. I picked up as well Runaway by Harlan Coben. Harlan Coben, I really enjoy his books. Mystery thriller. Saw it there for like $1 or $1.50 or something. So another one that I had to pick up. Have no idea what it's about, but Harlan Coben, I can't go wrong with Harlan Coben, I feel like, at this point. And then the last book that I picked up from the library was Gemina by Amy Kaufman and Jay Kristoff. This is the one that I was missing from the Illuminae trilogy, or the Illuminae files. I had book 1 and 3, both in hardcover, and even though this was in paperback, I'm glad that I at least have a physical copy now so that I can continue on with the series, because I've been wanting or looking kind of for a book 2, and this one again was like $1 or $2 there, so I had to pick it up as soon as I saw it to now have the full trilogy. I haven't heard the greatest things about books 2 and 3, but these are fairly quick, very fun books to kind of pick up and read through, because they're told in like, this multimedia format. But really excited that I now have the completed trilogy and can continue on with this as well. So yeah, guys, I think that is it for all of the books that I picked up recently in the last couple months. Again, comment down below, let me know if you guys have read any of these, what your thoughts are. I love to know kind of people's thoughts and feelings on book hauls, because like I mentioned at the beginning, it kind of sways me to kind of pick some books sooner than others. So yeah, let me know, like and subscribe if you haven't already, and I will see you guys all next time.